Football, great food, beautiful views, cars, Ferrari. Did you notice how I put cars and Ferrari separately? That's because Ferrari are so monumental in their own right. Well, at least they used to be in their day. Because recently, led by Mattia Binotto and other team principals, they've gone through some very turbulent times. And when I think of great comebacks, I'm coming from behind to win. I think of Brawn and the Brawn GP buyout to a championship winning team. I think of Leicester City winning the Premiership. But Ferrari are trying to orchestrate a glow up that will take them from midfield strugglers to title contenders. They are trying, but don't be baffed. I don't expect, and in fact they shouldn't be anywhere near these kind of comeback stories, because they've got the time, the money and the resource to win at any given point if they get their act together. And naturally the first step to 2021 success is to get rid of a 4-time world champion. Interestingly though, 2021 will be the first time since 2007 that Ferrari do not have a current F1 world champion in their driver lineup. Last time out in 2007 it worked out quite well for them. Ferrari signing Sainz was a big shock for most of us, and given Ferrari's performance, I think Sainz was probably thinking he's taken a massive risk. Is he destined to be a number 2 driver, and is he just a short-term option for Ferrari? Welcome to the Racing House, my name is Saki, and keep watching to find out why I'm worried about Sainz at Ferrari, given the environment there and the recent comments coming from Ferrari themselves. So I've had a bit of time in between my 9-to-5 job and brainstorming ideas for you all. And sometimes the F1 news outlets know how to drop those absolute bangers. It was the words from Mattia Binotto very recently that had my mind doing absolute circuits during the yawn fest of the year that 2021 is. And it made me really question whether Carlos Sainz would be given the time and backing to challenge Charles Leclerc properly. But what made me actually say this? To explain, Mattia Binotto was talking about Mick Schumacher and the proposition of him making it to Ferrari as a driver. And he basically went on to say that it could happen in the 2023 season. I'll put the full quote up so you know what was said. For me, this is absolute alarm bells. What must Carlos Sainz be thinking after hearing this from his team principal before even starting a race?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that.
Now, moving past these comments, when I look at this situation, I've got to remind myself that Mick Schumacher's the son of arguably the best F1 driver ever to grace the sport, and this can't be ignored. And he's also the son of a Ferrari legend, and there's going to be that element where he's actually seen as part of the Ferrari family. And looking at it objectively, why wouldn't you want that story to come true? It's a marketer's dream. Mick Schumacher, son of the great Michael Schumacher, coming back to the iconic Ferrari team. I would actually quite like to see it at some point, as long as it is on merit. I can imagine a lot of F1 fans, including myself, getting quite emotional at the sight of it. Mick will get his opportunity to show what he's about in the 2021 season, but going off his previous performances, he often does better in his second season, so we're likely to see him really show his performance and ability in the 2022 season. So he will get that time. Time is a huge luxury in F1, and we've seen where drivers have just been dropped by the team. And Carlos Sainz just won't be able to compete with this level of familiarity. Mick is just family, and I would say it's quite similar for Charles. And for Mattia Binotto to come out and say these kind of comments publicly means that it's really something that's in their mind already, and it's likely to happen as long as Mick shows some solid performances in his time at Alfa Romeo. And when you look at who Sainz will be coming up against, boss man Leclerc, I can't say with any confidence at all that Leclerc will be the man to make way for the great Schumacher name. And looking at the contract for Leclerc, he's signed up until 2024, which clearly doesn't line up with the 2023 prediction or possibility from Mattia Binotto for Mick to move into the team. And then when you look at Charles's performance against his teammate Sebastian Vettel, he beat him by 24 points, taking 4th place, while Sebastian only managed to take 5th place. And this was quite close, but it wasn't just the fact that Leclerc beat Vettel, it was in the fashion that he did it.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
Beating a 4-time world champion in only his second year in the sport. It was just very awkward to watch, given how liked Sebastian Vettel is. And in 2020, this feeling just didn't change. He managed to finish ahead of Sebastian Vettel at the end of the season by 65 points. So overall, Charles has been incredibly impressive during his time at Ferrari, and this extended to his rookie year, where he managed to beat his more experienced teammate Marcus Ericsson whilst he was at Alfa Romeo. So going back to Sainz, what will he want during his first season at Ferrari in in 2021. I like to think of personal things that have happened. I think back to my time in sixth form a long time ago now, where I was playing rugby competitively for the first time, and the coach said, I'm going to stick you in the second team, allow you to get up to speed and learn the sport. Eventually, the following year, I managed to make it into the first team and stay there. The concept is the same. Carlos will want the time to get up to speed and really be able to compete in the following seasons, just like Mick Schumacher is going to get. This is the main reason why I worry for Sainz, because I don't actually think he's going to get given the time to get up to speed. Just don't think it's going to happen. For me, he needs to be at least matching Charles in 2021, preferably beating him, because he's the older, more experienced driver, and he needs to be doing what Charles did to Sebastian Vettel when Charles joined the team. And being brutally honest, this is what the really talented drivers are capable of doing from the get-go. They don't care about experience, they just want to compete for wins, compete for championships. And with everything that's been said, knowing that Sainz isn't intrinsically a Ferrari man, he'll need to make it as hard as possible for them to overlook him and look at other big name drivers. He just needs to force them to put some respect on his name. Simple. Number 1 versus number 2 battles. Now, this leads on to my next point. Every new driver entering a team will make a lot of effort to assert themselves within the team, because nobody wants to be the automatic number 2 driver. And we can look at Sebastian Vettel's previous treatment as a real indication of what things could be like for Carlos Sainz at Ferrari. Imagine Sebastian Vettel, who is a 4-time world champion, getting paid a lot of money, approximately $45 million, and then a younger driver getting paid $3.5 million, less than 10% of Vettel's salary, and beats him in both seasons. Being Sebastian Vettel, it becomes very hard to justify your presence as the number 1 driver or lead driver. The doors of opportunity are blown wide open. And to put it simply, if Sainz doesn't get up to speed very, very quickly, I fear that he'll just become a number 2 driver, being put behind the needs of Charles Leclerc. I'm sure that he's aware of this, given how strong Charles Leclerc is as a driver, what he's done in the past, and how much he's loved by Ferrari and the Ferrari fans. Given all the info, Sainz really does need to find every ounce of performance so that he doesn't become a default number 2 driver. And looking forward into 2022, looking at the new regs and the new cars, I really do want him to be successful at Ferrari and have a long-term future, but it may be tough for him, given the comments coming from Mattia Binotto and the big Schumacher name looming in the background. I generally don't think he'll have time on his side. I think he'll need to get up and running pretty quickly. Like I said before, I truly believe he needs to at least match Charles, preferably beat him. So that just about finishes off my video about Carlos Sainz and why I'm slightly worried about his future prospects. Hopefully I'm wrong, but only time will tell. Let me know what you think. Are you worried about Carlos Sainz? Do you think he's going to have time on his hands? Do you think he'll be able to beat or match Charles Leclerc? I really want to know. Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, everyone, thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to ensure that you get all my latest videos.